So, Dr. Harsha, now obviously there was a point when the previous Prime Minister gave his resignation, the President did call upon the opposition to form a government, right? And clearly at that point, according to what we hear, is the fact that the opposition did put down conditions in order to form the government, but one of the strongest condition was the President must go, right? However, maybe 24 or 48 hours, we see a change of conditions saying that yes, you must go, but give us a stipulated time. Is it because the fact that the opposition felt that the job was going away from them? Did that condition come into play? Because it was given to you on a platter for you to take it if you wanted to take it.
It's a good question, and I think some explanation is necessary because otherwise people don't know what happened. So I think it was Sunday morning or Sunday morning perhaps, President called Sajid and he said, look, I would like you to form a government. Then he said, fine, let me speak to my parliamentary group and I'll come back to you. Then he called everybody, we all met and he said, look, I got this call, how do we respond?
Right.
And then all of us sat around, had, pros and cons. And then Sajid was very adamant that the president must go.
Right.
And then he was sticking to that position.
Right.
Some of us, me included, said, let's work on some sort of time frame.
Right.
And let's see, right, whether he can bring the 19th back immediately.
Correct.
And then work on the 21st, which is what's all we tabled, it's gazetted,
right,
which calls for quote unquote abolition of the executive presidency. It doesn't get abolished, that presidency
becomes
remains.
a nominal role.
Right.
Yes.
But then the president is elected by parliament, but not by by
by the
general
presidential
public, right?
Yes.
And he still has power to he'll still be the head of state, and he'll still be the commander of the armed forces, and all that is there.
Right.
Then he has the power to ensure the provincial council issues that otherwise could come up, and so on.
Correct.
So and then it was a telephone call. So Sajid said, instead of giving a call, why don't you go and have a chat with the president?
Right.
So
you were one of the individuals who basically went to speak to the president.
Yes.
Right.
And then what happened was, Monday, we were trying to go on Monday.
Right.
And then all hell broke loose on Monday.
Right.
The 9th.
And Sajid himself was holed up because, those, now we know, political elements in there, tried to assault him.
So, Dr. Harsha, the request came to you before the Prime Minister tendered his resignation?
The request came on over the weekend.
Over the weekend, the Sunday before, obviously, the Monday when all hell broke loose.
Yeah. That's right.
Right, okay.
Right. Then, because remember they said the Prime Minister was resigning.
Planning on resigning.
Yeah. And then the Prime Minister said he's not resigning.
Right.
Remember that Monday morning?
Right,
Yes.
right.
And then all these things happened. It was a chaotic day.
Yeah.
There was no way we could meet the President on that day. Then the next day was Tuesday.
Right.
And we met him.
Right.
We went to his residence, Mr. Ranjit Madhumandara, Mr. Iran Vikramaratne, Mr. Kabir Hashim, and myself.
Right.
And we were there, we went there at 8 o'clock, we were there till about 20 minutes past 10.
Right.
More than 2 hours.
Right.
President was also stressed out, tired, because everything was happening around him. And then we had this discussion, and we told him. Then he said, Harsha, you're not expecting me to go tomorrow. So I said, no, sir, no one is expecting you to go tomorrow.
Right.
All what we are talking about is a time frame.
Yeah.
Right.
Give us a plan.
Minimum time frame for you to leave based on the adoption of the 21st Amendment,
Right.
which calls for the abolition of this particular structure of the executive presidency.
Right.
Correct.
And that also cannot happen in parliament because it's a major change in the constitution.
Constitution.
You'll have to have a 2/3 and then you'll have to have a referendum.
Right.
So everything was in discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
Then that was Tuesday. Wednesday, nothing happened. Nothing happened on Wednesday.
Yeah. In fact, we were to meet you that Monday night.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
I
that's
called
right.
and cancelled because curfew was imposed.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Nothing happened on. I think curfew when
Yeah.
everybody was,
Actually, Wednesday was when the president met with the current prime minister,
Right.
and everything started coming out in the open, saying that he was actually going, most probably tipped to be prime minister. And then the opposition sent a letter on Thursday.
Yeah. No. So what happened was Wednesday night, right? Wednesday night, president addressed the nation,
Right.
Correct.
Right.
and in that address, he alluded to these points.
Right.
He said, "I'm bringing back 19."
Yes.
Right.
And I'm even thinking of, I think, the abolition of the executive presidency.
Right.
Correct.
Then we met the next morning.
Right.
And then we said, okay, now there seems to be some response to
Right.
our
Yeah.
discussion. Let's put it down on paper
Right.
and send it to him.
Right.
So we drafted this and we sent it to him.
Right.
Right? And I don't know whether it was Thursday or whatever the
Yeah,
next day,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
after the
Right.
after the address to the nation.
Right.
Yes, there were various social media speculation, right? That RW will take over PM. But RW had not spoken to any members of the opposition.
Right.
Because we were supposed to establish not a SJB government, but a
All party.
all-party government.
Right.
So if you're going to set up an all-party government, you have to speak to all parties.
Right.
So we had discussions with various different groups.
Right.
The independent groups, the SLFP, and all that. So
Right.
we did all that.
Right.
Right. We
Right.
were doing it the right way.
Right.
Okay. And then we sent the thing, and then we saw at 6:30, RW was appointed Prime Minister.
Right.
And the next day, President wrote a letter to Sajid and said, look, two things. Your letter was late. And two, some of these conditions that you have or requests that you have made, we didn't have the opportunity to discuss with my team.
Right.
Now, that is what he said.
Right.
Now, Shaq, there is no time limit. There is no, like you have to send a letter before 4:45.
Right.
Right? Otherwise, I will appoint somebody else. There's
Right.
nothing like that.
Right. Right.
Right? This is
You're not appointing a prefect.
no.
Right.
This is establishing a government.
Right.
An all-party government.
Right.